Hi guys, Freddie B here. You all know me from Freddie B's Pathetic Picks. I did win the Super Bowl, by the way. I did pick Kansas City. I did actually place a bet on that one. And Kansas City won by 3. I don't know anything about any conspiratorialists or any conspiracies or whatever. But I do know this. The game's over. Kansas City won. I picked it. And so, for the year, Freddie B's Pathetic Picks were fairly successful. So they weren't as pathetic as I thought. So now we go on to plan 2, because as you know me from Freddie B's Pathetic Picks, game's over. Kansas City won. I picked it. And so, for the year, Freddie B's Pathetic Picks were fairly successful. So they weren't as pathetic as I thought. So now we go on to plan 2, because as you know me from Freddie B's Pathetic Picks, now we're moving on to Freddie B Saves. Now we're moving on to Freddie B Saves America. One plan at a time. As we're getting into election season this year, you know, you're going to get a lot of politicians offering you many different things and promising a lot of things. I think that's probably a little bit better light. You got to understand, politicians promise you stuff that they never give you so that they can continue to promise you the same thing each election cycle, so that sooner or later you may believe them and they get their vote. What I would like to do is unpoliticize things, give you some direct solutions that might work. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is things that I hate the most, which are taxes. I do not mind as an American paying any taxes that are worthy and reasonable. What I hate is confiscatory taxes. Things like taxes on your inheritance. And I don't like unnecessary taxes or taxes that, quote, are designed to promote a certain cultural architecture in America. Now, having said that, you wouldn't think I'd be for any taxes, but there are some taxes that are certainly beneficial to every American, such as fuel taxes and stuff. And I have a plan on federal gas taxes that would help America too. But first today, I'd like to talk about 2 things. People on the left always saying that the rich don't pay their fair share, which we all know is bull. They do. But a way for the liberals to get the rich to pay more than their fair share. It'll help America. It'll save a part of America. And while it is additional taxes for wealthy people, it's taxes they're kind of used to seeing anyway, so they're really not going to feel the burden of the tax. And I'm talking about contributions to Social Security. So, for 2024, as you earn income up until you make $168,000 per year for an individual, you will pay out of your take-home pay 6.2% to Social Security, and your employer out of your income pays 6.2% to Social Security. The other 1.45% you pay is for Medicare. So, you as an individual are paying 6.2%. Your employer's paying 6.2%. So you have 12.4% of your income up to $168,000 is going towards the Social Security Trust Fund. That's supposed to be in a lockbox, according to Elmore, but it's not. All right. So here's a way to tax the rich, save Social Security, and take the politics out of it, so that the federal government can't come to you and claim, which is absolute bull, that you won't receive your Social Security if they close the government down, because that's not true. It's a, quote, entitlement that you earned, actually. It's an earned entitlement, so I don't think it's an entitlement. It's your money you're getting back. That was put in a trust that was supposed to earn interest at market rates and build, just like compounding interest. And if you took $5 a month or $50 a month, and you compounded it over the next 20 years, you'd be amazed at how much money you would have in the bank if you could discipline yourself to put $50 away every month for 20 years. It would be incredible amount of money for you. So, anyway, here's my plan that would save Social Security, gets the liberals off your back, because then they can see what we're doing? We're taxing we're taxing the rich. It doesn't hurt poor people at all, because poor people, by definition, don't make $168,000 or more a year. So I did some math, and I went on the internet, and I pulled some resources through Google asking, what do individuals make? What is the percentage? And here's what I came up with. So currently today, you have roughly 162 million people that are working in America. Of the 162 million people that are working, 7% make over $170,000 a year. Okay? So I took the median of that, 170, to the top rate's about 400 and something thousand. Now, there's a lot of people that make $1 million a year, and athletes and whatever, but that's such a tiny, tiny, tiny portion of this that obviously they would be part of it. So that would be more than what my conclusion is, because I'm not counting people who make over $1 million a year, because it's such a small percentage. But if you take the difference and you take the median, it's about $288,000 a year, and 7% of 162 million is 11,400,000 people. Okay, so I had to call a timeout because I had to change my board. So if I had my board up, which I probably did, you'll see that some of the numbers changed. And what happened was I was taxing people on their $288,000 versus the difference between the 168 and the 288. So my second board that I go through with the 84 billion that you're going to see are the corrected numbers. So I hope that didn't confuse you too much, especially since I'm dropping this right now in the middle of this explanation. Let's take a look. We've got 162 million people that are working in America. 7% of those people, or 11,400,000, make over $168,000 a year. In my research, I found that up to the 1 percentile, that becomes $410,000. So those last 7% between 168,000 and say $410,000, if you take the average, it's about $288,000 per year. This doesn't include athletes and people that make $1 million or $500,000. But when you're talking about the 1 percentile of Americans that make over $400,000, then you're talking in the tenths of percentiles that make these monster wages. You know, pro golfers, race car drivers, football players, athletes in general. Okay, crooked lawyers. Not just kidding, my dad was a lawyer. Anyway, so, he wasn't crooked. I wish he was, I'd be rich. So if you take the difference between the 288 and the 168, that's $120,000 additional dollars. And here's my proposal. At $168,000, the employer contribution, that 6.2% falls away. They have done their job. They are no longer obligated to pay. You as the individual still pay at 6.2% of your money. And you do that on every dollar you earn. That's what I mean by saying they might not feel it because it's already been coming out of your checks anyway. So your checks aren't really going to change if you have it taken out of your check, you know, on your paycheck. Now, I have friends, and I too, when I maxed out, would sometimes have my entire contribution taken out of my first check of the year. But not a lot of people do that, okay? So, moving on, my proposal for Congress is to pass a law, a single law, that says individuals will continue to fund Social Security at the current rate of 6.2% on every dollar they earn during the year. The employer portion of that ends at $168,000 for 2024. It goes up every year, as you all know. And as it escalates every year, okay, then that employer contribution would go up also. All right, so if you did that and took the 6.2% of the $120,000 difference, you come up with $7,440 additional dollars. If you multiply that by the 11,400,000 people that make on average that much, would pay that much more, you come up with $84,816 million additional dollars in the national treasury, in addition to what you're already collecting in Social Security now. Now, I don't know what you could do with $86 billion. I know one thing you shouldn't do is give it to a foreign country. But if we could somehow do that for 10 years, that'd be, and with constant escalation, you're probably looking at darn near $1 trillion over 10 years. That is not as painful to the average, to the wealthier person. Also, the poor don't have to pay it. You're taxing the rich, which people on the left love to hear, and they try to win elections by making you feel bad because you make too much money. So you go, yeah, I'll vote for that person to raise my taxes. By the way, if you vote for a person to raise your taxes, you are an idiot. But $84 billion is nothing to sneeze at. And we throw billions around like it's nothing. We need to control and lower expense. We'll talk about Freddie B Saving America, Social Security, other taxes that could be raised that wouldn't hurt everybody, but everybody gets to pay their fair share. And by the way, remember this, there's nothing fair in America. And we'll talk about other policies that America could do that would actually help this country become, again, the gold standard by which other countries would rate themselves. So thanks a lot for listening. I know this thing is a little sketchy, not the idea, but my videotape is probably going to be a bit chopped up. But if you like this idea, please let me know in the comments section what you think. I believe I did the math right. If you come up with different math, I'd be glad to hear about it. But again, I went on the internet, I looked at who makes what, not household income, but individual income. When you look up who makes what, you get a lot of household incomes. But I'm looked at individual incomes, what people make, what the top 7 percentages are. I took an average of those, and that's what I based this on. And when you think about it, that $84 billion would be more when you add in all the ultra rich and very, very rich and people that still pay that Social Security income. That would make a huge difference, probably another $2 to $3 billion on top of that. So I thank you so much. I appreciate it. Continue to follow along. If you like this, go ahead, subscribe. If you don't, that's fine. Leave me a like, leave me a comment. Tell me I suck. I don't care. Hope you have a wonderful day. Ta-ta for now.